I'm going to show you the basics of how you use this app. Once you know the basics, you can come bring up this help commands anytime and see all the different commands you can do. But what's written in here does assume you've covered the basics first. So what are the basics? You select things by clicking them. Lines, arcs, or text. You unselect things by clicking them again, or you can unselect everything by pressing escape. When you put a point somewhere, these funny rays appear, which I'll tell you all about in a second, but they're for measuring really. This thing is the origin for measuring. You see these coordinates readouts here? If I do that, it's telling me that the line between those points is 50 long and 30 degrees. I could measure the length of this line just by doing that and see that it's 200. But the main reason for rays is to draw things. Say I wanted to do something rather similar to this. This is obviously a diagonal line going up from that corner. If I want a diagonal line going up from this corner, but it's at 45 degrees rather than 30, and of a different length, what I do is I select the point, say I want 45 degrees, and I want a ray length of 15. And now I've got a clickable point there. And to draw a line, because I've already clicked 2 points, I just go L for line. So that's how you draw things with very exact dimensions using rays. There's more angle choices which are quite important. I've put a point here on this line and I don't know what angle that line is at, and I don't need to know. Often you want to draw right angles, of course, so if you go through to normals, it gives you automatic normals, and that works on arcs as well. You can get automatic radial lines and tangents that way. There's one other type of angle choice. If I go to there and go not 30-60, not 45, not normals, but custom, you'll see there's 2 little rays which diverge from this line a little bit. In fact, they diverge from that line by 4.321 angles. So if I change that to 10 degrees, I can now draw a line which deviates from the original one by 10 degrees. The final thing about rays is that when you're setting the length, let me give you an example. Say I wanted a point which is a third of the way down this line. I can measure how long the line is by reading it off. It's 125. Now I can say 125 divided by 3. And that point will be a third of the way down. And that's useful for splitting the lengths of things, or maybe splitting angles. So let's talk about commands. The general principle is that you select things and then you issue the command just by pressing a key, and the key is always the first letter of the name. L for line, A for arc, D for delete, U for undo, and so on. And you can see them down here. So let me show you. You've already seen point, L for line, but there's several different things you can do in line. Say I wanted to make a copy of this line that passed through, let's say, that point there. I can say line, point, and then go L for line, just like before, and that is actually going through that point. And the point I'm making is that each of these commands will do slightly different things depending on what you selected. If it's 2 points, it will draw a line between them. If it's a line and a point, you'll make a parallel copy of the line you selected through that point. And as I say, there's 4 different ways of drawing lines, good for different circumstances, and there are 4 different ways of drawing arcs too. And I'll just say something about arcs. If the simplest way of drawing an arc is click a point for the centre, click a point for the circumference, and go A for arc, which gives you a circle. Which brings me neatly on to shortening things. S is for shorten. And when I say shorten, it really just means change length. It can be shortening it or making it longer. It moves the end you click nearest. So I'm clicking near this end of this line, and then I'm clicking a point, and I'm going to say shorten, and it will cut the line back to there. If I go U for undo, I could have said move that end of that line to somewhere up here. Shorten. Once there's an intersection, you can say shorten back to the point. Shorten. And the reason sorry, you can do that with arcs too. I could say arc, shorten back to that point. And the reason I wanted to show you that command in particular is because if you end up with a full circle, it may not be obvious how you split it in order to get an arc like this. And the answer is you select the circle and you put a point anywhere you like and go shorten. And now you've got an arc you can shorten just like you could the others. I hope that makes sense. What was that? Two more things I had to tell you. Yes, one is zoom. To zoom, you just put a rectangle around the area you're interested in, let go, and you can keep zooming in as far as you want. And when you want to zoom back out, you just press Z for zoom to fit. And that, I believe, is everything you need to know. I do hope you enjoy it. Good luck.